Good afternoon. Here we are, Bishop Wcela and myself, Father Larry. We're here to talk once again about what's going on with the coronavirus, and we're trying to keep the social distancing, as you can see. This is 2 yardsticks taped together, so we're just about approximate. So you should do that at home too. I also wearing this slicker. I don't actually wear this when I go to the hospital, but it's similar that we have to get gowned up. I have a mask. The diocese has provided to all the priests working in hospitals and those who visit hospitals a lot with a shield and the N95 mask for breathing and gloves. So that's a great concern the diocese has for their priests. And I'm thankful for that because I've been going there a lot. One of the amazing things is that when I go to a room, any room in the hospital, you wear a mask and you protection. But if you go to a room where someone's in isolation, we can't go in the room. So we stand outside the room, yell into the door, the prayers, sometimes on the intercom phone at the prayer, and we can give absolution, and we can pray the prayers for the sacrament of the sick, and we can do that for these people. But the amazing thing is to watch the staff, the nurses, the doctors, actually stop what they're doing and stand around listening to that prayer, because they really need that in this situation. It's just an amazing thing to be a part of. Fortunately, at this point, I'm not called a lot. I was there yesterday twice, and actually I went to one of our parishioners' homes. Again, I gowned up in a Ziploc bag, put the pyx, give the pyx to the person, they receive, they put the pyx back in the Ziploc bag, I take it back, and in the trunk of my car, I have a Lysol can. I spray everything I touch, my oil stock, everything. I spray it all with Lysol and let it sit there and dry until the next time I need it.
Father Larry announced at Mass that he's been taking his temperature every day. I just want him to know and you to know that if his temperature goes up to 99 or 100, I'm going to shove him in his room, lock the door, and say, good luck, buddy. Talking about those people who are risking their lives, the doctors and nurses and medical professionals, all the people, staff of the hospital. There's this story that came from BBC. It says that an Italian priest who his name is Giuseppe Berardelli, contracted the virus. He was in the hospital, and his parishioners thought enough of him that somehow they managed to buy a ventilator and were giving it to him. He discovered that at the same time in the hospital was a much younger man who also needed a ventilator and didn't have one. So he gave his ventilator. He said to the people he would not use the ventilator, but he gave it to the other man. And eventually the priest died. And by the way, 60 priests already have died in Italy among all the thousands who have died over there. But he died, and he's a good patron for all these people who are risking their lives to say a prayer to. You don't remember the last name, just say a prayer to Father Giuseppe to help take care of them. And he even didn't want anybody to know who he gave the ventilator to, so it still remains a secret.
Okay. One of the things that a few people have asked is, what's it like? My brother in Milwaukee, he's involved in parish work as well for many, many years, more than me. And he wanted to know how it's like pastoring the parish in not a normal way. Well, one of the things is, as you obviously know, Bishop Wcela and I celebrate Mass every day. We normally do that anyway, but now there's no one else in the church or here in the living room except Renee, who films us, and nobody else. It's kind of strange. It's kind of quiet in some ways. It's also more prayerful in many ways for me personally. I like quiet, so it's a different type of experience. But in the rectory, there are many, many people that help us all the time. And right now they're at home. So Fran and Teresa, Rita and Liz, who do what you just said, they pop in occasionally to do something real quick and then go home again. Sister Margaret is still here every day for 2 hours giving food out. It's an amazing thing. But I never realized how many little things they do all day long that I have to do. And people keep calling and asking questions. I have no idea where half the stuff is, where they do on the computers. So I'm learning a lot about how the parish is being run. Also, one of the empty feelings, or I call it paralysis, it's almost a paralysis of ministry. Because we're so used to talking to people, holding their hands, walking with them, comforting them, and not to be able to do that, it's an absence of ministry. And the prayer that we do, the Mass, is a big part of that. but there's still that physical contact that is really missing. And I do pray and hope that we're soon able to continue that type of ministry, because it's an empty spot in my heart during these days.
One of the things we're waiting for is to hear something final about the ceremonies for Holy Week. Because imagine, it's going to be a very strange kind of Holy Week, not being able to be in church. We've heard some things from Rome that, for example, that there won't be we don't need a fire on Holy Saturday. Other things that there will be no procession on Holy Thursday to a repository, that Blessed Sacrament just remains in the tabernacle. We'll be hearing more things from our diocese, but it means that even as we hope, please God, to broadcast the ceremonies from here, that it's going to be a cut down version of the Holy Week that we used to.
We also will not be giving out palm until much, much later. After all this is done, we'll have a special ceremony. Maybe we'll pick another Sunday and give all the palm out at that point. In terms of Good Friday, one of the good things, because nobody's going to be watching, Bishop Wcela does not have to lie down on the floor, and I don't have to help him get up again. But we will in some way do a sign of our service and commitment to the cross of Christ, which all of us are experiencing at this point. There's many, many, many things that have to get prepared for Holy Week. And even if we don't have the whole crowd, so we don't need all the candles, we don't have to get all the bottles of water, although I will have the bottles of water for you after, but the many things that we do, we still have to prepare certain things that we need to do for this celebration to be properly done.
This is my last word. I just encourage people, if you can, to get out. I do, and so does Father Larry, try to get out of the house. He goes very early in the morning and goes walking. I go maybe later on in the day, either around town, the streets, or go up to the water and walk along the Sound. And it's great because there are people out, and everybody keeps their distance, but we're all recognizing that we're in the same boat, and there are a lot of people out just to get out of the house, to see something different, to get a breath of fresh air. So if you can do anything like that, try that with all the other things you're trying to do to keep together and to survive in this difficult time.
And going outside, this is the perfect time, because you're not rushed, you don't have a million things to do. It's a perfect time to sit outside on a chair, a bench, or even a blanket, and reflect on the beauty of nature. We have so much of it around here. A few years ago, Bishop Wcela wrote a little poem about I think it was a mockingbird.
It was that.
Mockingbird came back. I just looked at it again the other day. To have that time to reflect and see the glory of God in nature. One last thing. I hate to be crass, and you know me, I never ever like to ask for money. However, during this time, we have no collections. Some people have fantastically mailed it in even ahead of time. And we're trying to still pay all our staff, plus the other expenses. You have those troubles at home as well, I'm sure, particularly those who are out of work now. But if you can just mail it in or go online and do the online giving. So unless there's any questions, we're going to end this.
Everything that was a question you addressed during
we
the...
addressed all your questions. Wow, we're pretty good. Have a great day. God bless you.
Everybody. God bless.